Hello? Anyone home? Okay, anyone home? Okay. Hey guys, Nex-oz here, and welcome back to Witch on the Holy Night. Oh, sorry. And lo and behold, I finally managed to get this on full screen. As of, from last streaming, it was on borderless mode, so I had to go through all of that and had to end it there. But then when I logged back in, and lo and behold, it was finally on full. I can actually go to the config screen and go to full screen and actually on the main menu. So yay! We can finally start this experience on full screen. Now then, I heard that one commentator mentioned something about pressing the escape button for the config screen for the first gameplay. I haven't tried that yet, considering that I've been pressing F11 and something. But yeah, anyways, finally managed to get this on full screen. And then we can finally continue on with the game. Alright. Last off, we're going on his part-time job POV of Sojiro. What's his name? What? What was his name again? Sojiro? Or Sojiro? Whatever this guy's name is. But anyways. But yeah, as you can see here, this is exactly what the kitchen of a part-time job looks like when you're working on a restaurant in a kitchen. Look, these order slips pinned into the bin. Yeah, it's just... Oh, I know that. But yeah, I'm glad I haven't working there, because I don't know if I would take that, but to the people, I'm not complaining. To one's own built differential, but anyways. Rank with grease and heat, the kitchen was closed for the time being. Oh, it was closed already? The lunch rush had come and gone. Oh god, the lunch rush. Oof. But one last battle remained. Dinner time. Only after the evening chaos could the kitchen crew remove their white armor and call it a day. Nice to call it their apron as a white armor. It's like, we're going in the kitchen, you're in the battlefield, and these customers... And the serving table, this is the battlefield here. But yeah, I guess someone who worked in a restaurant before may have considered of describing this kind of analogy. In the midst of a war zone was a lone newcomer. Well, duh, it's called a uniform for a reason. His voice was uneasy, betraying now how new he was. Yeah, it was his new job. Shopping arcade?
なんとか言ってきてくれないか？無事帰ってきたら晩飯おごってやっから。
Get in one piece. he's saying like he's going to die or something. But at least the coworker is offering him dinner. Even though he's a newcomer, which you never see nowadays. I see there's like a couple of bean sprouts here. Wonder what kind of restaurant is that. Anyways, also an odd color. I think is a yellow brown uniform, calling it as a white apron. I don't know, but anyways, is that beans or chicken? I can't tell. Whatever. His bright orange coworker clasped his hand together as if to beg for forgiveness as he saddled him with this unreasonable task. Gomenasai, chanto yaimasu ka? Sorry, you might not see me, but I can imagine some anime folks doing that. Oh, it's quite a large uphill there. Look at all of those. Are all of these apartment buildings? Are these all apartment buildings? Geez, by God, is this how it usually looks like in Japan? I don't know about you, it's just like... I mean, yeah, sure, this is like the normal picture of a high school anime setting. But yeah. 10 years ago, Misaki City was a town on a farm and woodland. Oh, guess I'm not surprised. But everything had changed. The front of the station was now lined with tall multi-story buildings, and the residential areas were similarly full of apartment complexes. The once rustic scenery around the station had long become a thing of the past. Shiro Inuzuka was the only place in the city that still contained vestiges of the old town, a pocket of the past inside an urban jungle. Oh, yeah, definitely an urban jungle in a modern era. The road extended up a conspicuously high hill to an old residential district far from the hustle and bustle of the train station. You know, I'm quite surprised that this kind of city could still be so busy in some of the restaurants he's working at. Long ago, it had been considered unwise to build on high ground, so nobody lived above a certain elevation. Shiro Inuzuka, sitting as it did atop a hill in the middle of a town, was no exception to that convention, and had no residences to speak of. The asphalt continued for some time, eventually giving way to a mountain road that was swallowed into the cover of trees. A lone vending machine stood to mark the boundary between town and beyond. Even the children knew there was nothing beyond the new playground in development that so enthralled them. Oh, so there were a lack of children? Well, that was not entirely true. Oh, is it? There was nothing, besides the haunted house. Oh, back to Aozaki's POV. Aoko Aozaki traversed the long slope. Below her, she could see the whole Misaki. Ah, it's quite a view she's getting there. The symmetrical town looked like a miniature set from this height. It would look like a painting if there had been a sea next to it, but unfortunately, Misaki City was very much landlocked. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I don't see the lack of water in Misaki. That's what it's called. While it was overcast at the moment, the scene was quite breathtaking on clear evenings. The view was the one thing that made the arduous climb worthwhile, and today she had been denied even that.
雨の日は自転車も使えないし、1日に2回ぐらいバスでも通ってくれないもんかな、ほんと。
Wow, there are so many dead trees there. So many. Aoko had been using this road to get to school for almost 2 years now. but the journey had never gotten easier. Oh, she's been living here for 2 years? Hmm.
あれ、鍵閉まったまま？
What? Locked at her the front of her home?
アリス、まだ帰ってきてないんだ。
Is she planning to jump over the gate? With a weary shrug, she put on her hand on the rusty iron fence. Oh yeah, she is going over it. Oh no, she unlocked it on her own. Quietly, the heavy gate swung open as if to welcome her home. Oh, so she just like put her arm over and just goes around the lock and unlocks it? Huh. It's quite the lack of security there, but okay. There sits atop that hill a haunted house. That is how the story much shared around town used to begin. But fresh rumors about the house has sprung to life almost as fast as the town's modernization. Despite being dilapidated and abandoned for many years, lights can be seen inside the house at night. An angry murder of crows often gathers atop the hill before mysteriously vanishing. Sorry, just trying to build up the atmosphere there. Children get lost in the fog, never to be seen again. Really? So, was there any mention about missing child posters? Late at night, a shrieking sound can be heard all the way to town. This particular piece of slander was the one Aoko wished to discredit the most. The final rumor of an eye-catching luxury car that sometimes made its way up and down the hill. How luxury? Like a, would you call that long car? The roads limousine, yeah, the limousine. Probably Alice's car. The rumor spread and grew by the day. And while they grew, the house that everyone thought that had brought it away was stored over the recent years. Deep in the wood on top of the hill, no one dared to approach. Yeah, it definitely do be looking like a haunted house, despite the vines growing around it, and the dead trees. Like a ruin shrouded from view, even on the brightest of days, stood a relic of time, a building from a fairy tale. Oh, how poetic. The house was the Kuonji Mansion. Kuonji Mansion? Is that how it's pronounced? Kuonji? Everyone in town knew about the witch's house on the hill. Ah, the witch of the holy night, as they say. It was an unabashedly haunted house where Aozaki Aoko resided, for reasons known only to her. Needless to say, it was not really haunted. Yeah, it was just like 2 people living in the seemingly haunted house. Just 2 people. The Kuonji family home was a grand Western-style mansion with a long and storied history stretching all the way back to England. It was too small to be a dormitory, yet too big to be called a house. I know, with the size of it, it do be looking like a mansion. From the width. The main building contained as many as 3 normal houses worth of rooms and was surrounded by a large, all-encompassing courtyard. The perimeter of the grounds was surrounded by a high iron fence covered in thorny vines. I mean, if I ever get a chance, I'd live there. Although the Wi-Fi, oh no. There was also an annex to the main building. Given such extravagance, it was no wonder that it inspired rumors. Although, come to think of it, from the year that this story is going, it's probably around 19, probably the 1990s. Very old, probably old-fashioned, so not so much like smartphones have been developed these days. To the town residents, the mere existence of such a lavish and out-of-place mansion on top of the hill was a cause for suspicion. Rumors, lies, and slander were the prices to be paid for fame. With only 2 lodgers, it was hard to disagree with the perception that vampires must be living here.
ま、私はともかく、アリスはそういうのやりかねないし。
Alice. She put her hand on the front door. It was a grand double door that was paired well with a brass lock, and yet it was secured with little more than a simple keyhole. Huh. Pushing it open with one hand, she entered the supposedly haunted house. Oh, and by the way, if vampires were not enough to scare you, ghosts were known to appear on certain nights. Oh, is that so? Oh, it's this old classical music again. You know, from the first time I heard about this song, and from the first time, I was... funny story, actually. Upon hearing this song, the first thing that brought into my mind was a video of a breast massage with an Asian girl in a tiger bra. So yeah, that was so yeah, that was like the music that I'm hearing. It was just coming back to me from that memory back then. Because if I hear the only song that was playing like this, it'd be that breast massage video. I mean, it was a long time ago when I was a kid. so I can't get it out of my head. So maybe existed, maybe not. It was a very long time that I watched that video on YouTube. But anyways, much like the weather outside, the foyer was overcast with shades of gray. Also, a black waterfall. Thank you for coming here. Although this is not a bit of a scuffed stream, so I'm sorry about the experience you're getting. So I'm sorry about that. But I appreciate you being here. Perhaps by deliberate design, the architect had chosen not to include any lights in the entrance area. The ceiling was 2 floors high. The only light in the room came from the skylight. Could make good use of solar powered. It was particularly gloomy on rainy days. On moonless night, it was like the world itself ceased to be. Aoko decided the drawing room to the east would be a good place to rest, but knowing that she would not be able to relax until she changed clothes, she started up the stairs. Stairs curled up to the wall to the second floor hall. There was a 3rd floor attic as well, accessible from the far end of the hall. She had never set foot in there for 2 years she had lived there though. Maybe some secrets hiding there for foreshadowing. The Kuonji mansion was more or less divided into 2 wings, east and west. Aoko had been given the entire east wing. The entire east wing? Well, damn, she has plenty of space there, doesn't she? But 2 rooms were more than enough as far as she was concerned. She had no desire to open a door that would trap you in a storybook world or lead to an attic that had only been used for storage these last 5 years. Home sweet home. Aoko's room was at the end of the east wing's long corridor. She had elected for a smaller room for no other reason than that she thought it would be easier to clean. Simplistic at its finest. It was furnished with large bed, her beloved mahogany desk, a wardrobe and chest for her clothes, and 2 9-shelf bookcases. That was the extent of what she'd brought from home. Her entire life of 16 years reduced to this. She also borrowed the next room down for her own purposes.
そうだ。アリスにもらった見張りと壊れてないかチェックしないと。
Oh, she needs to check the watchtower? What's there needs that needs checking? Ah, the phonograph. She needed to see if the project she had been working on all night had borne fruit. The sturdy next door served as proof of life that she had been living for the last year, and how different that life... Sorry, my phone is just getting some notifications. Different that life was from the one she had lived before. It was not a room for the person she had been. It was a room for the person she would eventually become. A place of solitude that only she could enter, or so she thought.
壊れてるどころか跡形もなく消え去ってる。やっぱ自己流アレンジはまだ早かったか。いいわよ。笑いなさいよ、コマドリ。
Robin? As in the bird? Oh, the bluebird. The nosy neighbor that had intruded upon her sanctuary flew away. While not exceptionally talented, Aoko did not lack for effort and was not afraid to fail. One could have almost mistaken her approach for optimism. Ah, reflection mirror. Oh, blue sweater! Oh, how much I want. Oh, I'll go in her blue sweater. Oh, I want to taste it. Anyways, but back to the story. She changed out for a uniform and returned to the first floor. Yes, changed out. Oh, gray jeans. Down the stairs, she opened the door to the east wing into the corridor as dark as a cellar. The absence of windows meant it was pitch black without the lights on, so she flicked the switch and entered the nearby doorway. Look. Yeah, life without electricity. And then there's life without Wi-Fi. I don't want to imagine it either. Life without internet? Ugh. Fucking nightmare for me. How's that look? Sony. An off-brand for Sony. Such an old-ass looking TV. And with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. An octagonal picture there. Picture frame. Took me for a while to notice it was an octagon. It had been her idea to update the drawing room. The walls were decorated with extravagant patterns. And around the room were large, majestic sofas. And a luxurious Persian rug. Not that I know Persian, and I'd never been to Persia before. Amidst it all was a 30-inch television that seemed completely out of place. I know, it's so old-fashioned. It stood looking over the other furniture like the emperor with no clothes. The mansion's owner would have rather done without it, but to a commoner like Aoko, it was an essential commodity. They had fought over its presence at first, but eventually came to agreement and now mutually enjoyed this modern comfort. Guess that TV never had cables. Traditional household. I'm really liking looking at this angle. Not that mine. Now in a somewhat pleasant mood, she decided to brew some tea. Ooh. She boiled some water in the kitchen, prepared a teapot, and made herself some black tea. ASMR. With a flop, she sank into the sofa. She took a sip of her tea, then another. Classy. Hey, would you look at that? The sunlight peeking out through the clouds. Guess it's evening now, isn't it? Oh, are we going in transition? Lulled by the ticking of the clock, she took a third sip as she pondered how to spend her afternoon. Sofa almost seemed to be inviting her, and sunk even further into its comforting embrace. Oh, she fell asleep. Aoko blearily opened her eyes as she lifted her body up from the cushions. Oh, look, well, you know, it's Alice. She strangely do be looking like a sister or a maid. Puffed up shoulder dress. I forgot what they're called. But I'm supposed that they're puffed up shoulders. This was no dream or delusion. At some point, a girl had sat down from across from her. Not the least bit surprised, she reached for her teacup. But the tea within had gone completely cold. Oh yes, yeah, definitely she did. She asked the question to the girl on the other side of the table. Simple answer. The girl had answered without lifting her gaze. So she just slowly sit and reading her book, ignoring Aoko's existence, that she was slouching and snoring, possibly snoring, somewhat. When silent, she could have been mistaken for a beautiful doll. Hang on. Close enough. The girl sitting on the opposite sofa was reading an old book. She had delicate limbs and pale white skin, like a ghost. Not a hint of humanity emanated from her melancholic aura. She had darker hair than Aoko. Well, considering the fact that hers is black and hers is brown, and her icy eyes were focused on the pages in front of her. I mean, it's a bit slanted there, so it's completely covered from her long eyelashes, though. Her clothes resemble that of a nun. Oh, so I wasn't wrong. So I wasn't wrong that I mistaken her as a nun. But were actually her school uniform. Oh. Oh, school uniform. Wait, is it the same school where Fujino went to? Asagami Fujino went to? Could that be the same school? And the same school that Shiki's sister and Ryo... Wait, no. Not Shiki's sister. It's... Hokuto's sister. I think that was his name. Hokuto. Hokuto's sister and... Ryoigi Shiki infiltrating at that school. I forgot what that name was called. I forgot what the name is. I forgot what the name was. But it had a school where all the girls were wearing... I think it was an all-girls school? Probably. An all-girls school wearing nun-like clothes? Yeah, I think that's the case. I forgot what the name was. In Aoko's humble opinion, the gloominess suited her. She evoked something like out of a painting. There was something unreal about her, as if she were frozen in time. The white of her gently arched neck was so lovely that even Aoko found herself enchanted by it. The girl was one of the haunted house's 2 residents. Her name was Alice Kuonji, and she was the same age as Aoko. Oh, so it is her house after all. Or perhaps her father's house. Or perhaps her grandfather's house? Or her relative's house?
Watashi, どれくらい寝てた?
3 hours?
時間と少し。ここで眠ると風邪ひくわよ。
Oh, yeah, at least an hour. Alice answered indifferently. Allison answered indifferently. Not that it bothered Aoko, who was now used to it. She looked at the clock on the wall and saw that it was already 7. She had been asleep for 2 hours. Oh, so I was a bit close. The day had been a rough one for her, and she had slept little the night before, so it was no surprise that she had dozed off for as long as she had.
起こしてくれてもよかったのに。
And what would you be planning on doing? Sleeping?
せっかくの紅茶が冷めちゃったじゃない。
私が来た時はもう冷めてたわ。
でしょうね。行ってみただけよ。
Aoko drank down the rest of this cold tea in one gulp. In the poorly heated Kuonji mansion, that was more than enough to clear her head and wake up.
こうなると、フォートナム&メイソンも何もないわね。
Expensive kind for Britain.
おかえり、アリス。玉の贅沢もあんた抜きじゃ閉まらないってことかしら。
Oh my god, the way that sweater hugs her figure. It's like, very, very developed. Okay, enough. Wait, just let me stare into this for a moment. Okay, I'm good.
今日は薬日か天中殺か。ちょっと早いけど、お参りってのも十分ありかもね。
Do a temple visit? Aoko shrugged her shoulders as if resigning herself to her fate.
それで何があったの?
After 2 years together, they knew each other quite well. Aoko had one way of asking questions, and Alice had another. Alice asked without raising her head, and Aoko gave her the details.
まず謝らなくちゃいけない。昨日徹夜で完成させた例のあれ、意味がなくなっちゃったのよ。ちょっと目を離した隙に沸騰しすぎて壊れちゃったみたい。
Wow, took an eye for a second, and then everything else fell over. Wonder what kind of project she was doing. Or maybe I forgot.
そうならないよう、循環のコードを2、3本外したり縫合したりしたんだけど。
Circulation codes. Aoko tried to laugh it off as it was someone else's problem.
どういうこと?
今朝休養が入って学校に呼び出し受けたの。そこで転入生の世話を押し付けられて、一日が無残にも消費されちゃって、帰ってきたら跡形もなく消えてました。
Wait. By the time she got back, it vanished without a trace. What do you mean? Surely it would have just left it there, right? You assume that someone took it or something?
怒る、アリス。
別に青子の器物破損にいちいち怒っていたら一生分の口論をすることになるでしょ。代用品はあるからまた一から始めればいいわ。
Start over.
それより怒ってるのはあなたの方じゃないの?
Ah. I'm not sure those are her icy blue eyes because I'm seeing complete blackness in her. Although there is like a hard line black and that shade of black around her irises. Although a lack of pupil. But anyways. Alice was very much on point today. It was true that, despite outward appearances, Aoko was seething with frustration. That aside,
この転入生っていうのがひどくずれててね。
yeah, he grew up in the mountains.
すごい山奥で暮らしてたらしくて、こっちの常識が通じないんだから。 三問以下って言葉があるけど、あれって本当のことなのね、アリス。
Alice raised her head in response to hearing her name. But Aoko kept going on before she could get a word in edgewise. Aoko, after all, expected no sympathy in the first place.
初対面から尺に触るやつだったけど、教室を案内した時なんか失神しそうになったわ。そいつ、教室で教師と1対1で授業を受けるもんだと思ってたらしいの。ええ、それはそれでまだ流せる。許容範囲よ、あの程度の冗談は。
Yes, he was about to jump over the window for his way of exit.
私が簡潔かつ丁寧に教室の何たるかを教えた後で、そいつなんて言ったと思う？
Because it seems like she's hearing her nagging all the time.
それで青崎、他の教室は何に使うんだ？ですって。教室に他も何もないでしょ？なんていうか、そいつは少しでも説明を怠るとそのままで納得しちゃうのよ。
Well, I mean, even if he did, you'd be just even more pissed off, wouldn't you?
何も疑問に思わないというか、想像力が欠如してるっていうか、想像することに慣れてないっていうか。まあ、一度言ったことはちゃんと分かってるっぽいからバカってわけじゃないんだけど。
あなたが人を批評するのは珍しいわね。そういうダメな人、気にするたちだったの？
Oh, so that wasn't normal for her?
みじんたりとも気にしないわよ。けど、明日からどんな間違いをしでかすのか、ちょっと心配なだけ。
What she really was worried about was having to clean up that mess if and when it happened. That had to be it. If not, it would mean she had no real idea why she would not get him out of his head.
とにかく変なやつなの。案外アリスと気が合うかも。
三問一回はいい言葉ね。
Huh, guess she doesn't mind. But from her eyes, it was clear that the question of whether they would get along was irrelevant, given that they would never meet in the first place. Oh yeah, considering that she went to a different school. Aoko gave a non-committal response.
ところでアリス、さっきから何読んでるの？
霊的進化論の二次創作。スピリチュアルダイアリのまがいもの。
Spiritual evolution? Spiritual diary? What's that? You got that someone from a mage or something?
ああ、スウェーデンボリー。そんなの今更読んでも仕方ないんじゃない？
Swedenborg? Is that a person's name? I can't tell.
新書なら退屈だけど、これは偽書だから。
Oh, so she'd rather read a knockoff?
彼の欠点と長所を劇的に褒め上げている。よくできた冒険小説のようよ。立ちはだかる秘密組織の名前がカントとか気が利いているわ。
What? They're here already? And here I thought I'd be home alone for a couple of hours. Shit.
筆跡はあなたのおじいさんのものだけど。
The handwriting of the notes in the margin belongs to your grandfather. Aoko's grandfather?
あの人そういう趣味まであったんだ。割とユーモアがあったのね。惜しい人を亡くしたわ。
Oh. Not surprised that it was written by a mage. Aoko seemed nostalgic over her now deceased grandfather. Oh. Yeah. Expected that he'd be dead.
あなたのおじいさん、夏に頼りをくれたけど。
Last summer? Was that the day before he died?
よしてよ。死んだものと考えたいのに。
Aoko sighed and laid back on the sofa. The soft cushions caved in under her weight. I wish I'd be that sofa. Imagine if I'd be that cushion.
話は戻るけど。
Alice shot a glance at Aoko. Her body, buried in the sofa, remained as still as a corpse. Wait, hang on. What?
新書なら退屈。
へえ。あの人そういう趣味。
Wait, let me reread that again.
あなたの
よしてよ。
Laid back on the sofa. Oh yes, okay.
話は戻るけど、
I mean, it's a shame that there is no log collection for this VN, since this is like a normal VN. Wait, come to think of it, let me press escape. Oh yeah. I think I did try this before. But it was only audio voice text control settings. Oh, okay. Okay, so it was control settings. Okay. That's weird. Maybe I haven't looked at it there? Huh. Well, anyways. Her body, buried in the sofa, remained still as a corpse. It was clear that Aoko had tuned out of the conversation. Alice silently chastised her with a look. The more she thought about it, the less important the events of the day seemed to become. If she just ignored Alice, the conversation would end there. They would eventually get up and leave today's mistake unresolved for another day. However, that's not the kind of person Aoko Ozaki was. Yeah, I knew that was coming there. I knew that it was coming for that follow-up.
いいわよ。何？
She asked, still lying down.
今日できなかったのは少し痛いわね。
Failed today. What, the project?
だから反省してるって。学校優先は一人前になってからでしょ。
So it was the magecraft. So it did had something to do with magecraft. So she was focused on becoming a full-fledged mage before thinking about school.
ならいいけど。
Okay, so apparently she's a trainee mage. Wonder what who her mentor is. The coldness in her voice made Aoko gnash her teeth. She knew what Alice wanted to say. She knew better than anyone. The veneer she wore for school was different than the way she lived at home. While it could be called hiding in plain sight, Alice thought it was silly. And what the silence told her was...
覚悟を決めろって言いたいのよね、あんたは。
Make up your mind. Oh, so this entire time she was being indecisive. I mean, yeah, being a 16-year-old girl. Today's failure was not a colossal one. So the project did had something to do with magecraft. Okay. She just happened to upset the delicate balance between her home and school lives, chasing one at the expense of the other. And yet that careless mistake was a clear sign of Aoko's lack of commitment.
アリスは関係ない。これは私が私で決めなくちゃいけないこと。
She had only known for sure for the last year and a half. But she had a hunch for as long as she could remember. Make the choice, and the day will come. It was little wonder why her morals and conscience had been stripped away. Make the choice, and the day will come. So what? Like, if she made that choice, it would instantly change her life into a drastic direction. Is that how it's interpreting? Aoko pushed herself back up. She was met by Alice's cold beauty and wordless gaze.
OK、アリス。来週中に決着をつけよう。
Next week, eh?
それでいいんでしょ？
ええ、青子がいいなら。
Oh, guess she does mind. Aoko could not help but shake her head, feeling like she was hearing something similar for the second time that day. Even in the comfort of her home, she couldn't banish thoughts of that country boy from her mind.
じゃあ下準備はよろしくね。私まだできないし。
I wonder what's her abilities back then. Like what her abilities back then as a 16-year-old girl. Like what could she do?
場所は例の公園でいい？
Do it at the park.
やってあげて
Demonstration?
ね。あ、でももう一件の方は？
What kind of project are they doing for Magecraft?
そっちの方が急務じゃない？
What kind of Magecraft are they doing?
時と場合、森に変化があれば教えるわ。
Does it require... Depends on the conditions. Huh, guess this Magecraft they're performing must have been really delicate. After that brief exchange, Alice returned her attention to the book on her lap. Shop talk was over. Now they could return to their normal relationship as roommates. Alice grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. Since Alice was busy reading, Aoko decided to tune in to a variety show that had already started. Oh, I'm surprised that this TV already has cable. Alice started to speak, but suddenly cut herself off. What? What? What did she get shocked about? One of her delicate hands raced to her mouth. She would always cut herself off the second she realized she was about to say something trivial. Sometimes her self-restraint would hit too late, and she would make a gesture like the one she was making now. It occurred to Aoko that the sound her cute little roommate just now was different than the what she blurted in times past. Than the no she blurted in times past.
Nani?
What was that face? Is she like? Is she interested or something? Aoko turned on the volume on the TV. Her intense eyes lit up like those of a mischievous cat. Oh, what is it?
ないんだけど?
Alice looked all the way bashful, not knowing she could bring it up or not. Well, look at that. Look at those eyes. She's like a cat. It was times like these that her expression carried a real warmth and surprising charm. If he could see her in this moment, Alice's father would have to admit that her name suited her perfectly. Wait. Her name suited her perfectly. What's so suitable of Alice? Is there any meaning to that?
今日帰ってくるときおかしなものを見て誰かに話そうと思っていたんだけど
Aoko nodded, beckoning to her continue. Mm-hmm.
つまらない
Uh-huh.
けどどう考えてもそんなことをする理由がわからない
Okay.
青子人間ぐらいの大きな猫がひょこひょこ出前をする理由ってわかる
What? Man-sized cat riding around town delivering meals to people? That sounds exactly like a Studio Ghibli thing would do. Like, was it My Neighbor Totoro? There was that cat bus? For a second, Aoko thought Alice was trying and failing miserably to make a joke again. One would think that about anyone, really. But she seemed completely serious. Even if Alice's sense of humor fell flat for Aoko, the story had already sounded more fanciful than Alice's usual attempts at jokes. What were her usual attempts of quote-unquote joke? Aoko concluded that her roommate was talking about something she had entirely actually seen.
その話には2つぐらい信じがたい部分があるけど、1つずつ論破していい？
いいの私もからくりぐらいは思いつくから
Few mundane explanations.
理由がわからないから聞いてるのわざわざ精巧な猫のぬいぐるみを着て出前のてんやものを届けに行くことってそんなに簡単かしらね
Dressing up in a finely crafted catsuit to deliver food for a restaurant. Could that have been Sojiro? Is that Sojiro wearing the catsuit just to deliver food?
難易度以前にそれをやる人間の常識性を疑うけどね、私は。
I mean, it could be a coincidence. Alice nodded tentatively at her words.
まあ、世の中いろいろあるから。私たちみたいなのもいれば、下界から遮断された山奥で暮らしていたやつまで10人十色よ。
There's no telling what kinds of freaks are out there.
私だったら 見かけたら声かけて理由を尋ねただろうけど。
Alice's gaze drifted at that.
ふん。暮れゆく住宅街にさまよう出前猫か。背景が夕焼けだったらファンタジーだったでしょうに。
Yeah, it definitely does sound like a fantasy story.
で、今日の夕飯どうする？せっかく話が出たし、私らもてんやものにしようか。
Wait, you're not thinking about asking a delivery from that cat-sized man, right? Aoko loved getting takeout, and her face glowed as she spoke. They had no hard rules for dinner, but if one of them was in the mood to cook, they made it to a point to make enough for two. At the very worst, this meant entire weeks without dinner, but the two of them agreed that this was a system that worked best for them. What? They could go for an entire week without dinner? What had to be? Whether they found cooking to be too much effort or simply liked ordering out, nights like this one were a common occurrence, much to the chagrin of the restaurants of Misaki Town. Delivering to a mansion meant coming all the way up to the top of this hill, the source of their disgruntlement.
時間は8時前。ギリギリセーフね。私今月がいいな。あそこの月見そば最近ご無沙汰だったし。
Tsukimi Soba. The hungry student council president laid out a stack of takeout menus that she might fan a deck of cards and excitedly scan for anything that stood out. Alice casually responded without sparing so much as a glance.
悪いけど、私夕飯済んでるの。
she ate dinner without her. With those words, Aoko froze. I can imagine the ice crackling sound going to that scene. All deliveries required a minimum of 2 items, so she was out of luck without an accomplice. Cruel society had decided they couldn't be bothered to deliver to her a single serving of food. Ooh. Maybe it was due to her sleeping. Maybe it was due to that 2-hour sleep.